Now that we have a solid understanding of what the different parts of a sentence are called, clauses, phrases, etc., and we understand how to punctuate those different parts of sentences, we can talk about how to build more complicated, more interesting kinds of sentences. So, the kind of sentence we're going to talk about building today involves using connective steps. But first, let's talk about what we mean when we talk about steps. Steps are basically ideas. All sentences are made of ideas, and longer, more complicated sentences have different ideas involved. Like you can write a very simple sentence, like I like pizza. There's really only one idea there. However, if we add more ideas, I like pizza when I watch football on cold winter Sundays, we need to make sure that the ideas are arranged in a logical and efficient way. But if you notice, I added a bunch of ideas. I like pizza, that'd be our first idea. When I watch football, would be our second idea. And on cold winter Sundays would be our third idea. The sentence is more interesting. It's more informative. So we're going to talk about how to develop sentences so that they are more interestingly written. And again, today we're starting with connective steps. So what is a connective? A connective is a word that connects ideas to form longer sentences. So there are different kinds of connectives. A lot of them are the good old conjunctions that we use. But you can see different kinds of connections for different situations. For instance, if you're adding an idea, if you're adding something, then you might use one of these. If you're referring to time, you might use one of these. If it's a relationship between ideas, like cause and effect kinds of ideas, you might use one of these. If they're contrasting, one of these. These are all connectives. They connect ideas. So, now that we know what a step is and what a connective is, a connective step is when a writer uses a connective to add an idea to a sentence. The interesting thing about this is that when you use a connective, you're giving the ideas equal emphasis. You're not making one the main idea and the other a separate idea. If you use a conjunction, you're usually showing that the two ideas are equal. So let's use these base clauses. A base clause is sort of the starter idea when we're going to develop sentences. So let's take a look at these base clauses and build on them with connective steps. So one of the words that forms a connective could be something like after, which would be time, right? So the snow began to fall after we started driving home. So I've used a connective. Here's one idea. Here's the base clause, and I've used a connective to link them. The second base clause says, Kendall drove home. So let's say I have a second idea, and that's the idea that Kendall changed into her work clothes. I've got two clauses. I've got this and I've got this. And I need a connective. I decide that I want them to be in the same sentence. Well, what if I just cross that out and add and? And is a connective. Kendall drove home and changed into her work clothes. Suddenly I've linked the two clauses with a connective. So I've made another step. Here's step one. Here's step two. And I used a connective to link them. All right, let's look at this third base clause. Nellie elbowed the opposing player. So that would be step one. And I've got a second idea that Nellie received a yellow card. That would be step two. Now I would find a way to link them using one of the connectives. Well, one of the connectives would be so. Nellie elbowed the opposing player, and then I would change this so it's not as repetitive, so she received a yellow card. This is a connective, and I've connected step 1 and step 2. And that's how to use connective steps to link ideas. Mindeman out.